Hi, I hope you can hear me, and I hope there's somebody on to tell me that you can hear me. I turned down everything that makes noise, so I'm hoping nothing goes bang or beep or boop or rings while I'm talking at you guys. And I apologize, but I couldn't find a second lamp. So being the first time, I'm learning now you need more than one point of light, preferably in front of you, so you don't get this weird shadow thing. And I'm hoping that you get something useful out of this. I chose to do a makeover demo only because skincare you kind of need to experience, whereas color you can kind of see and decide if it's something you're interested in. And since a majority of my clients and just the people on the planet have brown eyes, I picked what we call our brown eye palette. This is actually a standard set that somebody put together for us of colors that goes very well with brown-eyed people. Sorry for the glare. And the idea is that I'm going to apply it using a classic look that we teach at our studio and at appointments for customized color so that folks can learn basics. Where to put it, with what kind of brush, how much, what order. A lot of people don't know this stuff. And I'm hoping that in doing so, you will have a better understanding of my skills as a makeup artist, but also what I can help other people with. If you know someone who could use a few pointers, but you're afraid to tell them, hey, they need a few pointers. I always start with the basics. I've washed my face, I've moisturized, it's been a little bit, so it's dry now. And I start with primers. Just like you paint a wall, you'd prime it first. I'm going to prime it. There is, once in a while a pop-up's going to show up. Hopefully you don't see that, but I may have to deal with it. Foundation primer. You may not realize this, don't mind the sticker, is a barrier between you and the world around you so that your makeup does not go into your pores but rests on the surface of your face. And what I like about it is it just happens to have the properties being SPF 15, so it gives you a little sun protection, but don't rely on this to protect you from, say, sunburn. And I have a second camera going in case you're wondering why I keep looking back and forth and my mirror is off to the side. So again, first time doing this, learning how to do this, hoping that people get it. And so anyways, all the stuff I'm using is Mary Kay. Part of it being is if you're excited and want to buy some of it, you can order it through me. Yay, in a bundle, and save shipping and save tax. And you get instructions anytime you have questions, so that no matter when you buy it, if you have a question, you can always contact me later on and say, hey, I bought this from you 15 weeks ago and I finally get around to using it, but I don't know how to use it. That's fine. It's not like you go to the counter at CVS and the girl there has no clue what you're talking about, doesn't remember you, and maybe doesn't even know how to help you with that product. So we use just a little bit of this stuff. I don't know how well you can see my finger, but maybe a dab. Trying to find a best viewpoint. Yeah, it's a little bit, like the size of a pea. And this stuff spreads really nice. It's thin, it's very silky, and it's just meant to kind of be a light barrier between you and your environment, as I said. It is also what your makeup is going to stick to. So let's just say you have a scar or scab or something and it doesn't want to stick. Primer is what helps your makeup stick to you better. It's also what we lovingly call pothole filler, because if you have any bumps, lines, or ridges, you know, little just imperfections in your skin, it's going to help kind of smooth out your face, give you that flawless airbrush finish without having to Photoshop yourself. So primer, definitely a must. Even if you're just using like a CC cream, it's not necessarily something that you need every day. But if you're going to wear any kind of foundation, mineral liquid, or other, like cream to powder, one of those in-betweens, this is actually a very good first step no matter what. I consider it one of the essentials to have in your case. I'm going to be doing eye color, so I'm using, hold on, eye primer. It's a little tube. It's only a little bit. It's white. It's meant to brighten up the surface area. If you've ever written on yellow paper or white paper, if you notice that the colors are always brighter on the white paper, it's just a matter of, you know, the yellow kind of causes the colors not to seem as bright. And your skin is peach, so or darker. Maybe it's a mocha. Maybe it's a chocolate. Either way, a light colored primer, a little white dot there, my ring finger. And you'll notice I'm using my ring finger because it's the gentlest finger on my hands. It's the least pressure put on my hands. So I kind of dab it between my two ring fingers, and I'm going in the upper eye area because this is where the color is going, and I'm just going to lightly pat it on or stipple it on. You can use a brush. I like fingers, but that's because I just like to be able to do this by feel. And the idea is just kind of in the upper eyelid and lower eyelid area is where I'm putting this stuff. And it's not to look white and pasty, it's just to go on. It'll absorb in, and just like your other primer, it's a barrier. Now, if you haven't noticed, I have dark circles under my eyes. I'm Italian, it's just a part of who I am. We have an under eye corrector that I've become friends with. I used to have to mix concealer with my foundation. No fun. This one has what they call a deerfoot applicator. It's soft, round, little, can you see that? I'm trying to hold it up against the contrasting background like my shirt. There. Keep forgetting to look at my secondary camera. And the idea is that you can kind of dab it on. I need the mirror for this. Now, there's two schools of thought. Some say you do a crescent under your eye. Other people say you make a triangle. I'm not sure which one to tell you because I personally like the crescent circle. Other people like the triangle. But either way, this has got a hint of peach into it so that it's counteracting the purplish area where the blood is kind of pooling under your eye. And if you don't like using your fingers, we do have a cream makeup brush. It's for our cream eye colors. It can be used for this kind of concealer and under eye corrector. Or you could have a separate dedicated brush used for lip products. So if you like to apply your lip products with a brush, this brush here, I don't know if you can read the writing at the base of the brush, but it does say here on the name. It's a little worn. I use this one a lot. And the idea is that you're just gently patting this in under the eye, maybe even that little shadowy part in the corner here. Don't poke yourself in the eye. And you're not necessarily dragging it across. It's more of a patting motion. You're just kind of encouraging it to sit on that dark shadowy part of your eye. Got to do both eyes, otherwise it looks weird. I haven't seen any comments, so I hope somebody's watching because I can't really look at the screen while I'm doing this. And let's see here. Maybe I can check Facebook on my phone while I'm doing this on the screen here. So in case you're wondering, this isn't part of the brush set, but it's one you can add to it. The brush set actually is pretty neat. This is the old version. It has a handle now. And there's several brushes in here that I added in. But our brush set is a standard 5 brush set. And I'll be using all of these brushes tonight. And I will also be using these additional brushes here as well. They're really inexpensive, but they are guaranteed with the same Mary Kay promise. All of our products are. For any reason something breaks, you're not 100% loving it, you change your mind, you can get a full refund or exchange. So it's never an issue in that sense. What I like also is the bag is washable, and in this case, you may not see it here, there's zippered sections, but the new pouch has a section that detaches. So I got like a zipper that goes up and down here. Where am I looking here? And then the zipper across here for the smaller section, and then one little elastic pouch where you can just kind of tuck things. So it's useful. Other than that, let's see, so we've done some basic priming. You may also have blemishes you want to conceal, and the thing is we're doing all this before color so that when the foundation goes on, it blends nice and easy, and I'm trying to find the right words here. You don't want things to look like you covered up or that you look like you're wearing makeup. You just want a little dollop to cover up ingrown hairs, scar tissue, what have you, and try not to get it all over yourself. This here is our light beige perfecting concealer. So I'm using just a little of this, and I'm going to pat this in. Got a few places where I get chin hairs, and then they don't always grow out right, and I have to pluck them out with tweezers. And sometimes I pick at it. I know I'm not supposed to. And there's a little scarring behind. So this is to cover up little blemishes. It's thicker, and this one happens to be more yellowish. I don't think I'd use it on my under eye. You could blend them, but the other one is designed specifically for the under eye area. So now I'm primed, and it's time for foundation, or in this case I'm going to use CC cream. This is light to medium. This is my winter shade. In the summer I'm medium to deep, and I'm going to show a couple of different ways to apply this. You could use your fingers, and you could accidentally introduce oil to your face, which I wouldn't recommend. If you were using a mineral foundation, you would use a brush. But in this case, we're going to use a synthetic brush or a beauty blender. What's really neat about this is you can use this wet or dry, but I recommend using it wet and squeezing out the water, because look how big this thing is. This is actually about twice the size it normally is. And the reason being is it's now filled with water, and when you're using it, it's going to give you a very natural finish. This brush, on the other hand, is great for kind of control putting the color on and then kind of laying the hairs on your face down that might be sticking up afterwards. So everyone's got a different way of doing it. I always recommend you put dots on your face. You don't put a whole lot on, and you blend out the dots as opposed to putting a ton on and then trying to blend it all the way around. So I could do like half the face with the brush and half the face with the Beauty Blender, and then you can kind of see the difference. And I don't go too heavy because it is a CC cream. It shouldn't have to be. But I am going to make sure that I kind of light pat over the eye area where I put the correcting under eye corrector. I know I'm going to make faces as I do this, just bear with me, we all do this. I'm not necessarily trying to cover up my freckles and stuff, I'm just trying to get an even coating on so I don't get a weird kind of ruddy complexion. So this is the side I've been doing with the brush. This is the side I'm going to use the Beauty Blender on. So I'm going to just lightly pat, like little kisses, all over the forehead, this side of the nose. And because it's got this cool tip, I can get areas that are harder to reach. And a wide base, that's really important because it gives you a lot of surface area, and that means you're not getting fingerprints and other weird marks all over your face. Again, I don't go too heavy with this stuff. It's meant to be just a light shade of peach, beige. I'm not sure exactly how you describe my skin complexion. But hopefully, I don't know if this camera can do it justice. You shouldn't really be able to tell the difference between which tool I used, just that it's uneven, there's no line where my makeup stops. I've got like a pile of stuff over here. At this point, we're going to move on to color. I know it took a little while, but now that my face is primed, there are a couple of things. I have bronzer, and I'm going to use this for contouring. And that's another place where I can use the light beige concealer. Let's just say you've got someone with a really big nose and they want to make it look a little thinner. Or they got a dark spot in the chin or nose area. Concealer is great for brightening up shadowy areas on your face. And I can blend back over that with my foundation. But the idea is that you're doing stuff like this to make your face look different than it really is. I'm not saying that your face ain't pretty, but maybe you feel it needs a little TLC. And that's what these products are great for. Enhancing natural beauty instead of making it look fake and photoshopped. So I'm going to go over this with the foundation brush here and then the Beauty Blender, because we don't want a distinctive line. We want just a hint that there's a lighter area. Then I'm going to use bronzer. Let me double check my work. Okay, it's not too bad. To emphasize the curve in my cheek. I have an oval face, which is pretty much what we want. But some people want a round face, and some people want a heart-shaped face. So what's going to happen is, I'm going to basically make a little C shape, like a little, number 3 I guess is the best way to explain it. I'm going to come down from the temple, and then I'm going to bring it down to the chin. But then I have to blend this out. This isn't going to stay here. This is not meant to be permanent darkness on my face. And I don't know if you can see this. I'm not putting it up here where I put blusher. I'm putting it in the shallow of my cheek. So it's a little different. It's a little lower. And it may not make sense because some people want to have a thin face. They might even put a little bronzer on the side of their nose to give it that longer nose look. Again, have to blend it out. But the bronzer fits beautifully in our compacts, both the regular size and the mini. I don't know if you can see that. Ta-da! Has a little secret compartment underneath. I don't know if you care, but it's good for storage. So now I'm going to take a second to blend out what I just did with the contour so that it doesn't look so heavy. And as you see, I'm using a Beauty Blender again, only because I don't want to get this look of the brush all over my face. It's going to give me a more natural finish. Now, I'm not going to put blush on till later because that's one of the things you put last to balance out your face.